Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel, and XRP is smashing through price resistance and currently is outperforming Bitcoin. Well, how about that? Are we going to be reading stories? XRP outperforms Bitcoin. We're going to be reading headlines like that on Bitcoinist.com, or is this going to be ignored? I tell you what, I'm not a betting man, but if I were... No, most certainly not. There's a lot to cover here. It's very exciting what could be happening in terms of price. I mean, it already has been, don't get me wrong, but in terms of what might happen the rest of 2020 for the crypto asset class, even though in many markets around the world there's lots of fear, I understand that, but sometimes that creates opportunity. Take a look at this headline from dailyhodl.com. Bitcoin will smash through $100,000 on this date, with select altcoins set to outpace Bitcoin. XRP predicts analyst Nicholas Martin. I like following this guy. He's got a rather large YouTube channel with over 300,000 subscribers. He's not a fan of Ripple and XRP, but he's not a troll. Definitely not. He just has an opinion that I think is coming to an illogical conclusion, but that's okay. I like diversity of thought. It's okay to disagree. But what's creating some of this opportunity? You got to see this headline. Look at this. This is from Bloomberg. And this piece is titled, and this just came out today, Goldman warns the dollar's grip on global markets might be over. Yes, they're literally talking about the potential for the collapse of the United States dollar. And if that happened, what would the implications be? Where would the actual wealth go? Because there's a saying, I may be butchering it, but maybe I don't have it verbatim, and I wish I could remember who came up with this, but it was something along the lines of there's always a green market somewhere. There's always a bull market somewhere. I think that's what it was. And it's this concept of if there's assets or whatever it is not doing well somewhere, if people are fleeing, well, that money is shifting to somewhere else. So that's conceptually where it's at. So what are they talking about this, and what type of opportunity might this present for an investment in XRP specifically? Not that I'm warning that the U.S. dollar is imminently going to collapse, but what if it continues to lose value but at an increasing pace? What would that do? There's lots to talk about in this video, but before we go any further, if you would please delicately tap the like button, I would certainly appreciate it. And also, I recommend that you get down with your bad self by subscribing to the Moon Lambo channel. Because why the hell not? I mean, it don't cost nothing. So you got XRP at 23.1 cents at time of recording this. Bitcoin's at 10,950, so it has slipped below that $11,000 mark. But you got the crypto asset class market cap still at $320 billion. Now take a look at this. And what do I always say about painting a narrative about success of a cryptocurrency if you measure success by price? Purely by choosing a timeline that's favorable. Well, let me pick one that's favorable for XRP. Over the last 30 days, XRP, and this is the 30-day chart on your screen, it's up 30.6%. 30.6%. Within the last 24 hours, the high was 23.4 cents. Now let's take a look at Bitcoin. Over the same period, 30-day, here's the 30-day chart. Sorry, actually, let me pull up the 30-day chart. There it is. There it is, right there. Okay. So it's moved to, it is up, Bitcoin is up in 30 days, 19.9%. So there you go. We should have headlines about XRP outperforming Bitcoin, because again, XRP is up over 30% over this time period, Bitcoin 19.9%. Shoulda, coulda, woulda invested in XRP. You know how the Bitcoin maxi trolls are, though. Bitcoin. That's what they sound like. So no, I don't think they're going to acknowledge that, but such is life. So let's jump into this piece now, because even though obviously over that specially selected 30-day time period I just came up with there, which doesn't really paint a picture of like the long-term viability of a cryptocurrency, I just point it out because that's what the Bitcoin maxi do all the damn time. But XRP still in 2020 absolutely, admittedly, is following the price action of Bitcoin, though I don't believe for a moment it will forever. At some point, there will be a decoupling. People will figure this out. So let's jump into this piece now from Daily Hodl about this $100,000 price prediction from analyst Nicholas Martin, one of YouTube's most popular crypto strategists. It says Bitcoin's next bull cycle is officially underway, with Bitcoin en route to a meteoric all-time high of $100,000. In a new video, Nicholas Mertens says that Bitcoin's expanding boom and bust cycles are painting a clear picture of where the crypto king is headed in the long term. And here's a quote from him. What is the general trend we are seeing here? Well, each time we are adding around 11 to 13 months, give or take, basically a year for each cycle. It would make logical sense here that for this cycle we would add another 12 months, give or take. Again, it could 1 month less or 1 month more. That's going to lead us here somewhere around November of 2022. If we take a look at the logarithmic chart, where we have the line resistance, that's curving over time. It's roughly around a big even of $100,000. And so he's talking about the expansion of market cycles, which really, it would be interesting to have a whole video about this and the mechanics behind it, but in a nutshell, it simply has to do with liquidity. It doesn't take as much to move a market, and when markets start to get moved because they're not particularly liquid in the first place, attention is grabbed. And then there are certain people new to the space, in this instance, cryptocurrency, and some of those are just going to stay, and that's why you see with these boom and bust cycles, the low after a bust is still higher than the low before. You get these higher lows, and so that's crypto asset class is not going away. Even if I'm wrong about XRP, and I don't think I am Mr. XRP bull. Crypto asset class is not going anywhere, and so what you're seeing is as more money enters the space, it stretches this all out. It takes more money to affect that, and then given that that's the case, it's going to take more time for that money to get in and then ultimately have this effect. So you're still having market cycles that, in the scheme of things, they're not that big. Like even now, even if this is a bigger market cycle, in this case he's talking roughly a year longer than the previous one, that's a pretty quick market cycle still. But that just goes to show that even today we're still in a nascent stage here. And to be clear, I don't have a financial background. I'm not offering financial advice. So don't buy or sell because of me. I'm happy to share my opinion, but this is your everyday Joe Schmo type of opinion, not a professional opinion, not offering advice. Now, Merton is also bullish on Bitcoin in the short term as he sees the top cryptocurrency igniting a strong rally and ending its 3-year-long bear market. Here's another quote from him. We are now starting to see a breakout here. Excuse me, guys. Sorry about that. Similar to the pattern we've been looking for. We might come down here, make that line of resistance into support before we really take off. Either way, I would not be betting against Bitcoin right now. We could very well be going into set in a relative short-term high there here around $12,000, then eventually testing above here on $14,000. So, man. Crypto, look, and it's so funny, with every single bust cycle there's ever been over the last decade, there have been those that have said that it's dead, and every time they get proved wrong, how much time will have to pass for them to not get it? And for me, personally, my entire investment thesis is that utility matters and will win the day, and XRP continues to be the only cryptocurrency that's being used in the commercial production of anything. Shout out to All the Way 08 for tagging me here in this Bloomberg piece, and he wrote the following. And this is going to head into that piece about Goldman. Goldman warning people to buy gold. But let's be honest. They are already well positioned in gold. It's at an all-time high. What other asset class could benefit from currency debasement and is a discount still? And then he tagged me, along with another in the XP community. Yes, point well taken, All the Way 08. I'm thinking in line with you, it seems. And this, I was listening to a video on Anthony Pompliano's YouTube channel. And it was a long one. It was about Bitcoin just in general. A lot of it was kind of like Bitcoin 101 stuff, but it was interesting to get his take on a whole bunch of things. And I learned that I actually agree with him about crypto and Bitcoin substantially more than I thought I would. This is the first time I've ever seen him really flesh out his thoughts on it, because he had over an hour to do so in that particular video. And by the way, for those of you that don't know, here's Pomp on the screen. It's his Twitter account, 351,000 followers. He's very well known. Chances are, there's pretty good chances anyway, you've heard of him and are familiar with him. But he's basically a Bitcoin maxi. I think that he probably would describe himself as that. But he's certainly not a troll. He just has an opinions, and he's always happy to defend his perspective in debate, and so I respect that most certainly. But he was talking about the things ultimately that are going to lead to just a tremendous rise. And he was talking about Bitcoin, but really I would still argue it's true for the entire crypto asset class. He was talking about how the United States dollar continues to be debased, which I pointed out a number of times, firmly on board with him on that concept. He was talking about how the dollar over whatever time period he was looking at, I don't know if it was over the last 100 years, whatever it is, how it's lost like 95% of its spending power thanks to inflation. Because, inflation creeps along at, roughly, it varies by year, but about 2%. And so as that happens, if you want to create true wealth, you really need to put it in assets, was the point that he made, which is something that seems obvious to me, but perhaps not enough people understand. That can be investing in the stock market. He pointed out that he thinks gold and silver would be good, and also Bitcoin. That's where he's going. And so where's money actually going to flow? And if you just understand conceptually and very simply that if you have your wealth parked in the United States dollar or any fiat currency and it's losing value over time, in this case 2% a year, the dollars that you have can purchase less than what they could 12 months prior. And 12 months from now, if you have the same amount of money, your value, what you can actually purchase with your money, just the power of that wealth is diminished further. And so that keeps happening. But what happens on the flip side when you have a deflationary asset? In this case, and he was talking about Bitcoin, but it's certainly true with XRP. XRP is deflationary, and you're not going to have some sort of central authority endlessly printing up more and more and more. So where will the money ultimately flow? Well, it's going to go into assets, is what he believes is the case. And I mean, big picture, I do. The question is, what's it going to look like in the coming months? He seemed more confident about that than me, but I still suspect that he could be right, the degree to which money is going to flow in, and it's not an unreasonable position to hold. Just as far as where you think this is all heading here. And so if you've got a cryptocurrency and money's going to be fleeing the dollar, because think about how much trillions and trillions of dollars are being printed. As the United States dollar continues to lose its value, what kind of effect is that going to have? What if it increases? What if the inflation rate goes notably beyond 2%? And so you've already seen that there's been, as of late, there's a great crash of the stock market. March 12th this year, I believe, and crypto tanked in tandem with it. But then it's been creeping up, and you've just had, over the last quarter, actually an opportunity for tremendous returns. And so that's where the money's been flowing, and it could be the case, certainly, that trend would continue. And so that's why this piece is interesting, because I think crypto's here to stay, and given that it's deflationary and it cannot be inflated, the XRP, and it has to do with supply and demand, absolutely, but as long as there continues to be, even if it's the same demand, the purchasing power of XRP, if you want to look at it like that, would increase because it's deflationary, right? And so what you're having, though, is you're going to have, and I have data on this, there is increased demand for XRP. You can look at new XRP account activations, which I highlight on the channel from time to time. Demand is increasing while supply is decreasing. What do you think is going to happen? And right now, less than 1% of the entire planet is invested in cryptocurrencies. And then you have, again, this story from Bloomberg. Goldman warns the dollar's grip on global markets might be over. Goldman Sachs Group, Inc. put a spotlight on the suddenly growing concern over inflation in the U.S. by issuing a bold warning Tuesday that the dollar is in danger of losing its status as the world's reserve currency. Now, look, I don't know that's, maybe it's a scare tactic, but I don't believe that it's possible. Let me restart. I don't believe it's impossible for the dollar to lose its global reserve status just because it hasn't happened before. It's every single fiat currency throughout the world that has been a global reserve currency has lost that status through abuse of those in control of it, printing too much. And this is absolutely happening here. So whether it happens now, and this is one of the other things I found interesting, I certainly do agree with Pomp on, even, I don't care if it takes, 500 or not 500, 50 or 100 years, whatever, you can't print a currency into oblivion and then have it continue, and then have people continue to have confidence in it. It just history shows us that's not how this works here. And now with Congress closing in on another round of fiscal stimulus to shore up the pandemic-ravaged economy, and the Federal Reserve having already swelled its balance sheet to about $2.8 trillion this year, Goldman strategists cautioned that U.S. policy is triggering currency debasement fears that could end the dollar's reign as the dominant force in the global foreign exchange markets. Yeah, well, if nothing ever changes, then it's going to probably happen anyway. To me, it's just, I don't know if it's going to happen in my lifetime. I could make a prediction, but I'd just be pulling that prediction out of thin air, effectively. I don't know what the timing's going to look like, but I see stuff like this, and it's alarming, and I think it's only going to increase the likelihood of this happening sooner rather than later. So that's what it's looking like. And so where are people going to put their money? Gold, silver, real estate, stocks, cryptocurrency. You got to put it in an asset, because at least there's even if it's real estate, there's a finite amount of land. You can't print more land. You can't print more XRP. You can't print more Bitcoin. So those types of things make sense to me. But that's why I'm just going to continue to put my money regularly into XRP, because I believe that utility matters and will win the day, like I state somewhat regularly. And I see real-world adoption occurring. And I see it as an actual deflationary asset, unlike the United States dollar. So how about that? But that's it for this video. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo!